Imagine just the messy, chaotic nature of your daily life.
Yeah.
Like, picture that one scattered, overflowing junk drawer that we all have in our kitchen.
Oh, yeah. Everybody has one.
Right, you know the exact drawer I'm talking about. It is
Mhm.
stuffed with, like, dead AA batteries.
Takeout menus from restaurants that went out of business 3 years ago.
Yes, exactly. And, a tangle of mysterious USB cables that don't fit any device you currently own. Maybe there's a single loose screw just rolling around in the back.
It's the worst.
It really is. And whenever you open it, you feel this immediate wave of vague, low-level anxiety because, nothing fits. Nothing makes sense in there. You have no idea what success even looks like in that drawer.
Yeah. Are you supposed to organize it
Yeah,
or
well,
throw it all away?
or just ignore it completely.
Right, because the ambiguity of it is just exhausting. But contrast that feeling with opening a perfectly organized, custom-cut foam toolbox.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, think about it. Every single wrench, every socket, every action has a clear, satisfying, designated place. You reach for a tool, it fits your hand perfectly, and when you're done,
It snaps right back into its phone outline with that, reassuring click.
Exactly. And that contrast between the unresolvable messiness of the junk drawer of real life and the pristine, custom-cut clarity of the foam toolbox, that's really the mission for today's deep dive.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. Today we're spending our time unpacking some really fascinating excerpts from a book called The Score, How to Stop Playing Somebody Else's Game by the philosopher C. Ting Nguyen.
It's such a brilliant book.
It really is. And the goal here is to figure out the hidden power of scoring systems. Like, why do game scores make us feel so incredibly alive and focused, while real-world metrics like your GPA or social media likes or performance rankings at work, why do they so often end up just completely draining our souls?
Well, to understand why we fall victim to those toxic metrics in our careers and personal lives, we really have to look at the psychological vulnerability that makes us love scores in the first place.
Right. It's not just that we like winning.
No, not at all. We don't just play games because they're a fun distraction. We're drawn to them because they offer this profound neurological and existential relief.
Relief from what? Just like normal life.
Yes, exactly. They provide a temporary escape from the agonizing complexity of just existing as a human being. The burden of existing is surprisingly heavy,
It really is. Just getting through a Tuesday can be a lot.
for sure. And the author uses this great example of parenting to capture this perfectly. Because real life is just a massive jumble of conflicting values that you cannot easily measure against each other.
Oh, parenting is the perfect example for that.
Right, so imagine it's a random Tuesday night. Your kid has been frustrated all day, they're struggling with math homework, feeling completely defeated.
And you just want them to feel better.
Exactly. But then you finally find this great anime to watch together, and the kid is suddenly joyful. They're back to being happy. The catch is, it's now like 2 hours past bedtime.
Oh no, I've been there. The living room is probably a disaster zone at this point.
Complete disaster zone. Stuffed animals are everywhere. The kid is bouncing off the furniture, loudly inventing their own wild spin-off stories about, like, being a rubber pirate hero.
So as a parent in that exact moment, you face a completely unanswerable question, right? Are you succeeding or failing?
Yeah.
Because on one hand, you're fostering this wild creativity and letting your child experience unbridled joy after a really hard day.
It was great.
Right. But on the other hand, you are completely ruining their sleep schedule, letting them trash the house, and basically setting yourself up for a miserable tomorrow morning. So are you a good parent or a bad parent right now?
And the frustrating truth is, there is no centralized method for scoring that situation. Our brains constantly have to weigh values that speak completely different languages of meaning.
Like comparing apples and oranges, basically.
Worse than that. It's
Yeah.
like, how do you mathematically compare the value of spending an hour reading to a toddler versus the value of spending an hour doing meal prep so you stay healthy for them long term?
You can't. They're fundamentally incommensurable.
Exactly. We're forced to navigate this fog of ambiguous values all day, every day, and it creates a massive cognitive load on us.
Is this why we are so obsessed with tracking our sleep scores or our daily steps? Does our brain just crave the comfort of a definitive number to replace the vague, messy feeling of just being healthy?
You hit the nail on the head. Because being healthy is a moving target. It involves your mood, your joint mobility, stress levels, diet. It's incredibly messy.
Yeah, some days I feel healthy just because I drink a glass of water.
Right. But a number on your wrist, vibrating to tell you that you hit 10,000 steps, that provides a definitive win. The watch gives you what Nguyen calls value clarity.
Value clarity, I like that.
Inside the framework of that step counter, there's zero existential angst. You know exactly what you're supposed to do. The target is immaculate. It acts as an existential balm, soothing the anxiety of the unknown.
That makes so much sense. And it does something else too, right? It provides social value clarity.
Oh, absolutely.
Because when you play a game or you join a step count challenge with your friends, everyone agrees on exactly what success looks like. All of our messy human differences, our varying definitions of a good life, they're just temporarily defined away.
We share an effortless mathematical language of success. We engineer these perfect, isolated bubbles where clarity reigns supreme.
But the genius of a game isn't just that it provides that clarity, it's how we actually use that clarity to manipulate our own psychology for joy.
Yes, and we do this through a concept the author calls striving play. And it relies on a complete motivational inversion from how we usually live our lives.
Motivational inversion. Okay, break that down for me.
So in practical life, the struggle is just a toll you pay to get the thing you want, right? You endure the difficult commute to get the paycheck. You suffer through the dental procedure to get rid of the toothache.
Right. The means are grueling, and the end goal is the entire point.
Exactly. But striving play flips that logic completely upside down. When you engage in striving play, you adopt a goal specifically to experience the struggle.
Wait, really? We want the struggle.
Yes. The goal itself, whether it's putting a little white ball in a hole or catching a specific type of fish, is completely disposable. You don't actually care about it in any lasting cosmic sense. The real purpose is the specific physical or mental experience you undergo while trying to achieve that goal.
Oh, the fly fishing example in the book illustrates this brilliantly. Let's say you take up fly fishing to keep from falling down a rabbit hole of doom scrolling and despair.
A very common reason these days.
For sure. So the explicit goal is to catch a trout. But the true underlying purpose is to force yourself into a deep, meditative attunement with the natural world. Because if you just walk into a river and try to will yourself to be one with nature, your brain gets bored in 30 seconds.
Totally. Relaxation is a classic, self-effacing end. If you pursue it directly, you fail. I mean, the harder you try to relax, the more tense you become.
Seriously. Just relax. Never works.
Never. But by adopting the incredibly narrow artificial goal of catching a camouflaged fish, your brain locks in. You suddenly become a nexus point in this overwhelming flow of information. You start noticing the crisp current edges in the water.
Or you notice that the first hatch of mayflies tends to match the exact appearance of the local hummingbirds.
Right. You are forced to pay attention to the river's ecosystem because the artificial constraints of the game demand it.
It feels a lot like eating incredibly spicy food, doesn't it?
That's a great analogy.
Because nobody just wants their mouth to burn for no reason. Inducing that temporary localized pain is the necessary mechanism you have to go through to get the euphoric, glowing endorphin rush that follows.
Yes.
The physical pain is the disposable goal. The endorphin rush is the true purpose.
You subject yourself to a strict, temporary condition to unlock a specific state of consciousness. And really, it is the only way to explain our love for absurd party games, what you might lovingly call stupid games.
Oh, man. Like that game, Bag on Your Head?
Yes, perfect example. So everyone at a party puts a brown paper grocery bag over their head.
Sounds ridiculous already.
It is. The goal is to blindly stumble around the room trying to rip the bags off other people's heads. If your bag is removed, you're out. And eventually there is only one person left in the middle of the room, completely blind, flailing their arms around, groping for competitors that aren't there anymore.
And they are the winner.
They're the winner. But the absolute best part of the game is for all the losers standing on the sidelines, holding in their laughter, waiting to see how long it takes for the winner to realize they are completely alone in the room.
See, if everyone just took their bags off on purpose, it wouldn't be funny. You have to genuinely try to win for the absurdity to work at all.
Exactly. The goal is removing paper bags, but the true purpose is hilarious failure. We use the artificial rules to completely bypass our natural social inhibitions.
And this mechanism applies to highly complex digital spaces too, right? Look at action video games, specifically the notoriously difficult ones like Hyper Light Drifter.
Oh, that game is brutal.
It really is. It's a moody, post-apocalyptic game where you are constantly swarmed by enemies, dodging and parrying bullets. It is just brutally hard. But the secret of the game is that all the enemies and all their attack patterns are subtly synchronized to the heartbeat rhythm of the game's electronic music.
Yeah, and the creator of the game actually spent his life struggling with heart disease, so he built the entire combat system around a heartbeat rhythm.
Which is incredible.
It is. But think about it. If you only cared about the goal of winning, you would quit after dying the 20th time. You would go play an easy strategy game.
Definitely. I would have thrown the controller.
But players keep throwing themselves at it because trying to survive forces the brain to abandon rational, conscious thought. You slip into an electrifying flow state where your fingers are instinctively dancing to that heartbeat music.
Wow. So the frustration and the difficulty are just the artificial constraints required to unlock that flow state.
Exactly. So we have these perfect isolated bubbles, games or sandboxes, where we can safely use the intoxicating clarity of a score to find flow or meditation or laughter.
But the danger starts when we forget to leave the skull inside the sandbox.
That's where things go wrong. What happens when we take that exact same psychological vulnerability, our deep craving for a clean, measurable target, and let our workplaces, our schools, or our social media platforms exploit it?
That sounds like a recipe for a disaster.
It leads to a phenomenon known as value capture.
Value capture.
This occurs when your personal values are, rich, subtle, and perhaps a bit difficult to articulate. Then you enter an institutional setting that offers you a simplified, highly quantified version of your values.
And slowly, without you even noticing, that simplified metric completely takes over your desires.
Precisely. You outsource your values to a distant bureaucratic force, and you let a spreadsheet set your life goals.
If you've ever worked in a corporate environment with rigorous performance rankings or KPIs, you know this feeling intimately. And the author actually experienced this in academic philosophy, didn't he?
He did. Think about why someone gets a PhD in philosophy. You want to understand the meaning of life. You want to know if objective morality exists.
You live for those late-night conversations, scribbling logic diagrams on napkins, chasing massive, unmanageable questions about the human soul.
But then you enter the profession, and you meet the rankings.
The dreaded rankings.
Yeah, in academia, there are lists of top departments and top journals, all ranked by prestige. And the big, wild, beautiful questions. They don't easily get you into those highly ranked journals.
So what do?
Well, to score well, you have to write small, hyper-precise, arcane technical papers that maybe 20 people in the world actually care about. But the brutal clarity of that neat little ranking system is so seductive, it sucks you in.
So you spend years abandoning the questions you actually cared about just so you can climb the prestige ladder.
The metric captures your values.
It's wild because the philosopher Thomas Hobbes warned us about this centuries ago. He argued that ultimate power doesn't come from military might. It comes from the ability to control language and define the terms of success.
That's a profound point.
Right. If an institution can define what success means for you, whether it's a publication record, a sales quota, or a credit score, they control you from the inside out.
And this hijacking relies entirely on what we can call the gap. The gap is the vast, invisible distance between what a system mathematically measures and what actually matters in human reality.
I feel like social media is a masterclass in the gap.
Oh, 100%. Imagine you go on a platform like Twitter or LinkedIn because you want to learn from people, find meaningful connections. Then you have a post go minorly viral.
And you catch that feverish high of seeing the numbers soar.
Exactly. Suddenly you find yourself ransacking your own thoughts. You stop looking for what is true or deep, and you start hunting for thoughts that are peppy and sharp enough to trigger the algorithm.
Because the interface of social media, the likes, the retweets, the follows, it cannot register empathy. It has no mechanism for measuring profound understanding or nuance.
None at all. It captures a binary information state at the exact microsecond of first reading. But human communication is slow. You might encounter a deeply challenging post that offends you at first. You disagree with it.
But it sticks in your mind.
Yes. It gnaws at you for a week while you're doing the dishes or driving to work. And slowly, over days, it completely transforms your worldview.
That is life-changing communication. That is the highest value of sharing ideas.
Absolutely. But you are highly unlikely to hunt down that exact post a week later to click like. The system interface treats a life-altering realization exactly the same as a quick 2-second chuckle at a meme. They both register as a single data point.
So the gap between the metric and the real human value is enormous. Yet we start tailoring our entire communication style to maximize the data point, not the human connection.
Tragic, really.
I hear the danger in that, I really do, but I have to play devil's advocate for a second. We cannot just throw out metrics, right?
No.
I mean, if a university has 50,000 applicants, they can't sit around reading everyone's childhood diaries to gauge their character. If a bank is lending millions of dollars, they need a credit score. Society needs scale to function, and scale inherently requires simplification. Doesn't the metric have to be a little bit reductive to be useful at all?
That's a fair point, but you're confusing the tool with the master. You are entirely correct that metrics are engineered for the convenience of vast bureaucratic information systems. They must abstract away from personal difference and local detail to process data quickly at scale.
Right. A university needs a GPA to sort files. A bank needs a credit score to assess risk.
Exactly. The danger isn't that these institutional tools exist. The tragedy is when we, as individuals, internalize those bureaucratic tools as our actual intellectual or moral worth.
Ah, that's classic Goodhart's law. When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. We let the bureaucracy's need for a clean spreadsheet become the definition of our own self-esteem.
And when we do that, we start optimizing for the wrong score, which alters our behavior and destroys the things we love. The score actively changes the subject. Consider a team of computer scientists trying to build a creative AI a few years ago. They set out to build an AI that could make good art. But when asked what target data they were using to train the algorithm and measure success, they admitted they were using a database for engagement hours.
Wait, similar to Netflix metrics?
Exactly like that.
So they replaced the abstract, immeasurable concept of art with the highly measurable dopamine loop of addiction.
Yes, art is supposed to move us, enrich us, challenge our perspectives. None of those qualities are reliably measured by how many consecutive hours you stare at a screen.
Wow.
But when pressed, the engineers simply shrugged. Engagement hours are easy to count. Empathy is not. Because they needed a clean data set, they swapped the definition of art for the definition of addiction. The metric completely changed the subject of their work.
It is terrifying when it happens to our culture, but it's deeply intimate when it happens to our own bodies. Think about the friction of data entry in diet apps.
Oh, that's such a common one.
Imagine you've hit a point where your back hurts, your energy is low, and you decide you need to make a health change. You start going to the farmer's market. You fall in love with cooking fresh food. Picture grabbing a bunch of fresh asparagus.
Sounds amazing.
You get this perfect sear on it and a hot pan crisp on the outside, melting soft inside with a concentrated, sweet vegetal flavor. You are listening to your body, noticing how fresh vegetables make you feel vibrant compared to heavy processed foods.
So you're engaging with health as a complex, sensory, holistic experience.
Right, but then the weight loss stalls out for a week. You want to see the number on the scale keep dropping, so you download a calorie tracking app.
And suddenly you have to enter all your data.
Have you ever tried to calculate the exact nutritional macros of a handful of differently sized, pan-seared farmer's market asparagus cooked in an unmeasured splash of olive oil?
It's impossible.
The UI friction of searching for that in an app is incredibly tedious. So just to make the data entry easier, you abandon the fresh, vibrant food you love. You switch to boring, prepackaged, standardized meals, strictly because the barcodes are easier to scan.
The metric literally kills the joy of reality just to make the spreadsheet cleaner. You trade the rich sensory experience of your own physical life for the bureaucratic convenience of your phone app.
Does this mean that every single time we try to mathematically measure something beautiful, we inevitably destroy a little bit of its beauty just to make it fit into the data entry box?
When the metric is imposed from the outside, and it is rigid, yes, it inherently destroys a little bit of reality. And the psychological toll of living as a walking spreadsheet can be devastating.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Think about the pressure cooker of modern education. Imagine a high school student pushed heavily to maintain a perfect 4.0 GPA, grinding to get into a top-tier college. She's also a competitive athlete, maybe a golfer, meticulously tracking her stroke average.
That's a lot of pressure.
And simultaneously, she is struggling with anorexia and completely obsessed with optimizing her body mass index. She is surrounded by rigid scoring systems. The GPA, the golf handicap, the BMI.
All just numbers dictating her worth.
Life handed her all these metrics, and she spent years just trying to get the highest score possible on all of them without ever having the space to pause and ask if she should have accepted those metrics into her heart in the first place.
Learning to distinguish between a disposable game score and a toxic, real-world metric is just so vital. For that student, realizing that she didn't have to internalize the bureaucracy's numbers helped pull her out of a severe depressive spiral.
It gave her the distance to step back.
Exactly. To evaluate what actually mattered to her outside the confines of a spreadsheet. She even changed her phone's lock screen. Every single time she picked up her device, a message popped up to force her to confront reality. It just read, "Is this the game you really want to be playing?"
That is the ultimate defense mechanism against value capture. You have to constantly evaluate the game.
So, what does this all mean for you listening right now? If there is one core lesson to extract from this deep dive, it is that scores and metrics are incredibly powerful double-edged tools. Context dictates everything.
Inside a game, we control the scores. We bend the rules to our will. We use them as artificial constraints to unlock flow states, to connect with friends, and to experience the thrill of the struggle.
And most importantly, when the game is over, we leave the score on the table and walk away.
But outside the game, institutional metrics are designed to control us. They seduce us with their absolute simplicity. They offer an easy mathematical answer to the agonizing complexity of life.
But if we aren't fiercely protective of our own inner compass, those metrics will capture our values. We will optimize for the algorithm, the ranking, or the barcode, and we will completely forget what we originally cared about.
It's a trap we all have to watch out for.
Absolutely. So, we want to leave you with this final provocative thought to mull over on your own. Think about the biggest score you are actively chasing right now in your own life. Maybe it's your salary, your credit score, your performance review rating, your follower count, or a number on a scale.
Let's pick one.
Yeah. And if someone magically stripped that number away entirely tomorrow, poof, it no longer exists, what would your actual underlying purpose be? And the truly difficult question, is the number you are chasing right now actively helping you achieve that deeper purpose, or is it secretly pulling you in the exact opposite direction? Are you using a custom-cut toolbox to build something meaningful, or are you just letting an arbitrary metric dictate what belongs in your junk drawer?